The war hangar was silent. Metal walls stood tall like mountains. Giant battleships rested on broken legs. Smoke still floated in the air. Alien soldiers strong and proud lined the walls, holding weapons tight. But no one moved, not even. The air dared to breathe. She entered, the alien queen. Her skin was deep silver. Her crown floated above her head, glowing with dark blue light. Her long tail dragged behind her like a river of steel. She was feared across 10 galaxies. Planets knelt when they heard her name, Queen Virelia. But today, she stopped walking. Her eyes locked on something strange. There, in the middle of the hangar, stood her most dangerous weapon. A massive, fire-breathing creature, bigger than a starfighter, covered in black, cracked scales, eyes glowing like lava. Its name was Dravox the Death Dragon, born during the Shadow War. Trained only to destroy, Dravox never obeyed. It only burned. Until now, Dravox was calm. It was quiet. Its wings folded. It did not roar. It did not move. Because next to the beast stood a human, a man, thin, dirty shirt, grease on his hands, a wrench in his pocket, simple goggles pushed up on his forehead. He was not a soldier. He was not a warrior. He was a mechanic. His name was Jax. The queen narrowed her glowing eyes. "Why is a human inside my war hangar?" she whispered. Her top commander, General Kern, swallowed hard. "My queen, the human was sent to fix the damaged fighter. He came with the engineers after the crash. I gave no permission for this," she said coldly. "He didn't ask." The queen's jaw tightened. In front of her, the unthinkable happened. Dravox moved. Slowly, gently, it lowered its massive head. The floor cracked beneath its weight. Steam blew from its nose. Then, it bowed. The dragon bowed its head beside the human like a knight kneeling before its master. Gasps filled the air. Alien soldiers dropped their weapons in shock. Generals stared. Some took steps back. One even ran out. Dravox, the killer of cities, the queen's personal monster, bowing to a human no one understood. Jax looked up and noticed the queen at last. He didn't kneel. He didn't beg. He didn't show fear. He simply wiped his hands with a cloth and nodded. "Your engines. Coolant system was blocked. Overheating caused the crash. I fixed it." The queen walked closer, step by step, slow, silent, like a shadow. "Who are you?" she asked. "Jax," he said. "Did someone command you to touch my beast?" "No," he said. "It was hurt." The queen stopped. Her tail flicked. "You healed it." "I tried." "She kills anyone who touches her," said General Kern. "She didn't kill me," Jax replied. Dravox huffed again. Its breath shook the walls, but it wasn't angry. It was peaceful. "You used tech. Mind control." The queen snapped. "No tech," Jax said. "She was in pain. I talked to her. I cleaned her wounds. I gave her water." "You talked to her?" Jax nodded. "Everyone yells at her." "I didn't. I listened," the queen said. Nothing. Her face stayed still. But deep inside, something moved. A question. Why him? Why did the beast not destroy him? Why did it obey? Why did it choose him? She stepped even closer to the dragon. Dravox raised its head slightly and gave a small growl. Not at Jax. At the queen. She stopped walking. The queen of 1,000 worlds. Feared across the stars. Stopped by a growl from her own pet. Because of a mechanic. Suddenly, the queen turned and left without another word. The alien court was silent for hours. Later that night, in the dark corners of the capital ship, whispers began. They say the queen's dragon now protects a human. They say the human used forbidden tech. They say he cast a spell, but Jax didn't care. He sat in the hangar, alone with the great beast. He gently placed a cold pack on Dravox's shoulder. The dragon purred, like a cat, like it trusted him. Jax looked at the stars above the hangar roof and sighed. "I don't know why you listened to me," he said, "but thank you." Behind a wall, hidden in the shadows, the queen listened. And for the first time in her long, cruel life, she felt afraid. Not of the dragon. Not of war, but of something she never understood before. Kindness. The queen stood in her private chamber silent. Around her, the galaxy's most advanced war maps floated in the air. holograms of enemy fleets, battle stats, star charts, but her eyes stared at only one screen, a replay, a silent, shaky camera recording from the hangar, the dragon bowing, the human standing still, again and again. She watched it, and every time, her anger grew colder. She did not understand, and that more than anything angered her. "I want him brought to me," she said. Within minutes, guards found Jax alone, wiping his hands near the dragon's tail. He didn't resist, didn't even look surprised. He just followed them, wiping sweat from his forehead with a dirty cloth. Inside the Queen's dark throne hall, he stood alone, surrounded by 10 elite guards, weapons ready, eyes filled with hate. She sat above, silent on her levitating throne, claws tapping the armrest. "You entered my hangar without permission," she said. "You didn't close the door," Jax answered calmly. "You touched my dragon," she growled. "She was hurt," he said. "She let me." "She is not a pet," the Queen snapped. "She's a weapon of destruction, a beast forged in war. And yet, she bows to you." "I don't know why," Jax replied softly. The guards raised their weapons. One shouted, "Speak with respect, human," but the Queen raised her hand. Silence returned. Jax didn't shake, didn't beg. He just stood like a tired worker who had fixed a broken engine and wanted to go home. "I looked into your file," the Queen said. "You are a mechanic. No military training. No psychic ability. No royal blood." "Correct," he said. "I fix things, then tell me." Jax of Earth. She leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Are you using some forbidden technology to control her?" "No." "A secret code?" "No." "A spell? A serum? A trick?" "No." "Then explain." She shouted, and her voice cracked the walls like thunder. "Why does my dragon listen to you?" Jax looked down, thinking carefully. She was in pain. He said slowly, her leg was burned. Her chest had metal shards. No one helped her. Everyone shouted. "I didn't. I sat. I waited. I cleaned the wound. I said kind things." The Queen stared. "You healed her," she whispered. "I tried. I fixed the broken parts, inside and out." The room went cold. The Queen stood, walked down the stairs slowly, her tail dragging behind, eyes glowing like cold moons. She stopped just inches from Jax. He smelled smoke on her breath, saw tiny sparks. Under her skin, if she wanted to kill him, it would take less than a second. But she didn't strike. Instead, she whispered, "If I find out you are lying to me, if I discover one single trace of trickery, I will destroy Earth myself." Jax nodded, understood. But something unexpected happened next. A loud thud echoed behind the Queen. The massive doors of the hall burst open. Dravox had followed him. The guards panicked, stepping back. Some aimed their blasters. "Don't shoot," the Queen ordered. Dravox entered slowly, eyes glowing, wings tucked. It walked past the guards, past the throne, and stopped beside Jax. Then it did it again. It bowed. This time, lower than before. The Queen watched silent. Then Dravox turned to her. And it did something no one had ever seen in recorded alien history. It growled at the Queen, not in anger, not in hate, but in warning. It stood between her and the human, protecting him. She froze, her crown dimmed for a second. She, the one who raised the beast, was no longer its priority. The Queen turned slowly and walked back to her throne. "Take him to the guest quarters," she said. "No prison, no chains." "But my Queen," a guard began. "I said no chains." Jax looked at her one last time. "Thank you." The Queen didn't reply. As the doors closed, she whispered only to herself, "Why does my monster love a human?" The stars outside the window blinked slowly in the darkness of space. The alien battleship floated in silence, but deep below, far from the shining halls of gold and armor, Jax sat alone. He was back in the hangar. Back with Dravox. The dragon lay still in the corner, breathing slow. Its wings were folded, its tail stretched across the cold metal floor. Steam rose from its body like fog after rain. But this night was different. Jax wasn't holding a wrench. He was holding a wet cloth, wiping the old burns near Dravox's shoulder wounds, hidden beneath cracked scales. The alien engineers never looked this close. The Queen never cared. They all saw a weapon, But Jax saw something else. He moved slowly, gently. He didn't speak at first. He just let the silence breathe. Then, a small sound, not a roar, not a growl, a whimper. Jax stopped. Did you just whimper? Dravox didn't respond, but its eyes were half closed, and something glittered there. A tear. Not from pain, from memory. Jax sat beside the massive head. He placed a small light near the dragon's face. The scales were chipped, cracked, scarred. This creature had been through countless wars. Every mark told a story. Jax whispered. They never asked if you were tired, did they? The dragon blinked. Once, a slow, heavy blink. You were a baby once, Jax said, and they turned you into a weapon. Silence. Then, to his surprise, Dravox moved its head closer. It rested beside Jax, like a wounded dog near a warm fire. The alien cameras captured everything. Watching silently, the engineers monitoring from above had no words. The queen, in her throne chamber, stared at the screen. Even she didn't blink, because for the first time, her beast looked broken. Not physically, emotionally. Jax looked into the dragon's glowing eyes. You want peace, don't you? Dravox breathed deeply, a soft, sad sound. Jax reached into his bag and pulled out an old photo. A small, wrinkled picture of earth green trees, blue skies, a little girl with a dog. My sister drew this, he said. She wanted me to show aliens that Earth wasn't just about war. Dravox looked at the picture, eyes wide. Then something happened. From deep inside its throat, a strange vibration began. Jax tensed, but it wasn't a growl. It was a purr, a low, rumbling sound, soft and steady, like a giant cat purring after finding safety. Jax smiled. You missed something, maybe. Someone. He didn't ask more. He just sat in silence for the next hour. The human and the dragon rested together. No violence, no fire, just peace, until the silence was broken. A loud, angry voice echoed from the hallway. Human, step away from the Queen's beast. It was Commander Gorth, one of the Queen's top soldiers. He stormed in with fur-armored guards, weapons ready. Dravox's eyes flashed red, but Jax stood up and raised his hand to stop. Jax shouted, she's calm, don't scare her. But Gorth didn't care. He aimed his blaster at Dravox's head. You think she listens to you? You think this monster is a friend? It's a weapon. And you're just a lucky insect who survived. Jax stepped in front of the dragon. I said stop. Gorth laughed. Move, human, or I'll shoot you. First, and that's when it happened. Dravox stood. Its wings spread. Its eyes glowed like firestorms. The floor cracked under its weight. One step. The guards fell back. One dropped his weapon. Commander Gorth froze. Dravox growled, then turned and placed its massive wing around Jax. Like a shield, like a wall of trust. The message was clear. Touch him and you burn. The Queen watched it all live from her chamber. And for the first time, her cold heart didn't feel anger. It felt something else. Regret. Wonder. Fear. She whispered to herself. He found what I never could. The palace halls glowed with dark blue light. Royal banners hung from the ceilings like flowing shadows. Alien nobles walked carefully, watching their steps and watching each other. The story of the human mechanic had spread like fire. Every whisper carried his name, Jax, the human who made Dravox, the Queen's dragon. Neil. Some called it a miracle. Others called it danger, and some wanted him gone. In the War Council chamber, behind soundproof shields, 3 high-ranking alien generals stood in a private meeting. They were tall, armored in black and gold, with claws sharp enough to cut steel. At the center was General Tharn, the Queen's cousin and the one who once controlled Dravox in the pit fights. Now, he clenched his fists with rage. Dravox was mine, Tharn hissed. It obeyed my whip. It killed when I commanded. Now, it purrs like a house pet beside a human. That human shames us. Should we tell the Queen? Another general asked. Tharn slammed the table. She's blinded. That mechanic poisons her thoughts. So what do we do? Tharn's smile was cold. We remove the poison. That night, Jax was in the guest quarters. The room was big. It didn't feel like comfort. It felt like a cage wrapped in silk. He sat on the floor, cross-legged, working on a small engine core with tiny tools. Sparks jumped as he fixed a cooling fan from a broken fighter. Suddenly, a small door hissed open. A servant entered, carrying food. "Dinner," the servant said. "Thanks," Jax replied, not looking up. The tray was placed on the table: soup, bread, a glowing blue drink. But the servant didn't leave. He stood still, watching, waiting. Jax looked up. "You okay?" The servant didn't speak. Then he smiled. But it wasn't a smile. It was a signal. 3 shadows rushed into the room armed with silent blades and toxin injectors. Assassins. Alien elites. Fast, cold, deadly. Jax jumped up, backing away. "What is this?" No answer. One assassin moved in first, blade ready, aimed for Jax's heart. But before the blade touched, the walls shook. A roar thundered through the palace. Avox. In a flash of fire and fury, the beast smashed through the window wall, sending glass and light flying. Its wings folded in mid-air as it landed with earth-crushing weight. Its eyes burned like suns, its throat lit with flame. One assassin turned to run. Too late. Fire. White hot and wild. Not to kill. To warn. To protect. The flames circled Jax, not burning him, but forming a wall of heat around him. The assassins screamed, dropping their weapons. Dravox lunged. It didn't need claws. Its rage was enough. In seconds, the attackers were disarmed, curled on the floor in fear. The fake servant tried to run. Dravox's tail swept through the air, knocking him against the wall. Silence. Only Jax stood, breathing hard, shocked but safe. Guards came running. Then, Queen Virelia entered. Her crown glowed brighter than before, her face unreadable. "What happened here?" she asked coldly. Jax pointed to the broken window, to the burning floor, to the unconscious attackers. "You tell me," he said. Her eyes moved to the assassins. She recognized their armor. Royal guards, her blood, her court. She turned to Jax. "Are you hurt?" "No, you should be dead." "I guess I got lucky," Jax replied. Dravox growled behind him. The queen looked at the dragon, then at Jax. Her gaze narrowed. "Luck or loyalty?" She walked to the nearest assassin and tore off his badge, Tharn's seal. The queen stood still for a long time. No words, no emotion. Then finally, she said, "They feared what they couldn't. Control." Jax looked up. "I don't want control. I just want peace." The queen gave a small nod. "Peace is dangerous in a place built by war." She turned to her guards. "Clean this mess and send a message to General Tharn. I don't care if he's my cousin. If he moves against the dragon or this human again, I will burn his bloodline from the stars." That night, Jax returned to the hangar. He didn't sleep. Dravox lay beside him. The fire still burned in its eyes, but now, so did trust. And far away, hidden in the royal court's darkest corners, enemies planned again, because to them, the dragon's loyalty wasn't a miracle. It was a threat. The great chamber was filled with smoke, not from fire, from anger. Alien commanders stood around the queen's war table. Holograms showed enemy fleets closing in. A rival planet, Zorvan, had declared rebellion. Their ships were faster, smarter. They had new weapons and no fear. Queen Virelia stood still, but her court boiled with rage. "They dare challenge your rule?" shouted General Krex. "They have forgotten fear," hissed Minister Tharnik. The queen raised one hand. Silence fell. Then she said quietly, "Let them remember." Her glowing eyes shifted to the corner. To Jax, the human stood quietly, arms crossed, grease still on his sleeves. He wasn't meant to be in this war room, but she had called for him. She didn't ask for advice. She asked for proof. The queen stepped forward. "You say the dragon trusts you." Jax nodded. "She does. You say you didn't use tricks, didn't force her." "I didn't." "Then prove it." Jax raised a brow. "How?" The queen pointed at the war map. "Zorvan's rebel fleet attacked one of my outposts. The battle is still burning. I will send ships, but not yet." "Why not?" "Because I want you to go first." The room gasped. "You mean send him in a scout ship?" A general asked. "No," the queen said. She looked at Dravox, who stood just outside the chamber doors. I want him to ride the dragon into the battle. The idea spread through the palace like thunder. A human riding the dragon of death into live combat. Some laughed, some panicked, some took bets. Jax said nothing. He simply walked into the hangar, where Dravox waited. He looked up at her massive wings, the scars, the glowing eyes. Ready, he whispered. Dravox lowered her head. Jax climbed onto her neck. His hands grabbed the saddle stubs the aliens once used for control. He didn't use chains, no force, just trust. The dragon stepped out into open space, wings rising. A huge crowd gathered across the balconies. The queen stood above them all, watching. Without expression. Jax looked up once, then nodded. Dravox launched into the sky. The rebel planet, Zorvan, was still in flames. Explosions lit the horizon. Enemy ships circled like hawks, firing at what was left of the queen's outpost. They didn't expect a counterattack yet. They definitely didn't expect a dragon. Out of the clouds it came, wings like thunder, breath like stars. Jax sat on its back, eyes focused. The rebels laughed. A beast? That's your plan. Then came the flame. Not red. Not orange. White. Pure fire, like a star melting steel. One enemy ship exploded in midair. The next turned to escape, but Dravox flew faster than their engines. Jax pulled nothing, gave no orders. He whispered, left, and Dravox turned. He said, down, and Dravox dived. No one had ever seen anything like it. A human and a dragon moving like one. The rebel commander shouted, fire everything. Too late. Dravox flew straight into the center of their formation. Fire exploded around them. Missiles missed. Lasers bounced. Jax held tight, trusting her. Now, he whispered. Dravox roared. The sound cracked mountains. A firestorm spread in all directions. The rebel fleet broke formation. One ship collided with another, to crash into the ocean. Within 5 minutes the sky was silent. Only the dragon remained. Back at the palace, the queen watched from her command tower. Silence. Her generals said nothing. Her enemies said nothing. And she closed her eyes. Not in anger. Not in defeat. In understanding. When Jax returned, the crowd watched in silence. He dismounted, walked forward. Burnt armor, scorched boots, hands shaking, but alive. The queen stepped down from her tower. The crowd opened for her. She stood before him, face to face. She looked at him not like a bug, but like an equal. She didn't speak praise, but her voice was no longer sharp. You returned. Jax smiled slightly. You doubted. The queen didn't answer. She turned to Dravox, then back to Jax. He follows you into death, she said, and I sent you to die. You didn't believe me. I do now. She paused. And for the first time, said two words no one ever thought she would say, thank you. Smoke still lingered in the sky. The battlefield was quiet now. Only silence remained. Broken ships, dead engines, drifting ashes. And in the middle of it all, a dragon landed. Its wings folded slowly, its fire cooled. On its back, Jax sat quietly, helmet off, eyes distant, arms wrapped around the dragon's neck. He wasn't celebrating, he was remembering. Back in the capital, the palace glowed with celebration. Alien banners flew, victory songs echoed through the halls, but inside the queen's private chamber, there was no music, only questions. Jax stood in the center of the room. The queen faced him with unreadable eyes, but this time, no guards. No weapons. Just her. I watched the whole battle, she said quietly. You never ordered her. I didn't need to. Jax replied. You didn't control her with wires. Not commands, not pressure, no. The queen stepped forward, slowly. Her voice dropped to something close to curiosity. Then, how, she asked. Jax took a deep breath. He looked her in the eyes, not as a subject, but as a person. I didn't control her, he said softly. I respected her. The queen didn't move. Her claws twitched. Explain. Jax reached into his bag. He pulled out something strange, a toy, a small, metal figurine. Bent, burnt, a dragon with tiny folded wings. She gave me this, Jax said. Not Dravox, a little alien girl. From a worker colony. The queen raised an eyebrow. A toy, no, a story. He held the dragon up to the light. She said Dravox wasn't always called Dravox. Long ago. Before war, before cages, before pain, her real name was Ayara. It means sky soul in the old tongue. The Queen blinked. That name forgotten buried. In old war files. Classified. You knew this, Jax asked. The Queen turned away. I buried that name. It was weakness. No, Jax replied. It was who she really was. Jax walked toward the large screen in the room and played a video from his device. Footage of Dravox sleeping. She wasn't curled like a beast. She was curled like a child. Soft. Lonely. Afraid. I watched her dreams, Jax said. She shakes, cries, her fire burns even in sleep. The Queen remains silent. Jax turned to face her again. She didn't follow me because I'm special. She followed me because I saw her. The Queen stepped forward now, for once not as a ruler, but as someone unsure. Then what am I? She asked. If I raised her, trained her, built her armor, but never saw her. Jax looked at her. You were her keeper, but not her friend. Silence, not sharp, not cold. Just real. The Queen touched her throne but didn't sit. Do you think I am cruel? Jax paused. I think you were hurt too, and you taught her what you knew, pain. The Queen's tail dropped. Do you hate me? No. Then, what now? She asked. Jax looked out the window, toward the stars. You asked me to fix an engine, but I found something more broken. He turned back. Your people, your dragon, even you. A door hissed open. Dravox stepped in. Her eyes didn't burn. They shimmered. The Queen took one slow step toward her. Carefully. No armor. No crown. No command. She raised one hand. Dravox didn't growl. She bowed. Just slightly. Enough. The Queen's lips trembled. Does she forgive me? Jax whispered. She never hated you. She just wanted you to stop hurting her. The Queen walked closer. She touched Dravox's neck. For the first time, without fear, the dragon let her. She leaned in, forehead to scale, whispering something no one else heard. Maybe a name, maybe a memory. Maybe an apology. Later, as Jax stood in the palace garden under the twin moons, the Queen joined him. She wore no crown now. No armor, just a robe of soft black silk. Tell me something, human. She said. Double quotes. Yes. Why do you care? He smiled. Because someone once saved me. The Queen stared at the stars. Your kind is strange. Jax nodded. But maybe exactly what you needed. The throne room had never been so full. Every level, every stair, every pillar was lined with nobles, guards, commanders, diplomats, and soldiers from across the empire. All had come to see the ceremony, but no one knew what kind of ceremony it was because the Queen had not said. Only 3 words were written in the order: bring the human. Jax stood outside the grand hall. His clothes were still simple brown boots, dark shirt, tool pouch at his side. No medals. No rank. Only truth. Dravox stood beside him, still and proud. She wore no chains, no armor. Her scales glowed soft silver under the lights. She no longer looked like a weapon. She looked free. The doors opened. The guards did not stop him. They bowed. Jax walked down the long hall, alone. All eyes followed. At the far end stood Queen Virelia, but not on her throne. She stood below it. No crown, no weapons. Her long robe flowed like black water. When Jax reached the center of the hall, he stopped. The Queen stepped forward. And then in front of everyone, she dropped to one knee. The gasps were sharp. A sound like thunder rolled through the chamber. The Queen of 10 galaxies, the conqueror of systems, the Lady of Fire, bowing to a human. She spoke softly, but her words were heard by every ear. You came to us as a mechanic, a tool fixer, a man with no sword, no shield, no ship. But you showed us something stronger than flame. You gave mercy to a creature we trained in cruelty. You listened when we only ordered. You healed what we only used. You earned the trust of the beast I feared most. And somehow, you reminded me what it means to feel. Jax stood still, his throat tightened. He didn't speak. The Queen looked up at him. I kneel not because you are stronger, she said. I kneel because you are wiser. The court was frozen. No one moved. Then, slowly, one by one, the alien nobles behind her bowed. Then the guards. Then the commanders. Then, from the balconies above, dozens more knelt. It wasn't force. It wasn't tradition. It was choice. They bowed not to Earth, not to Jax, but to what he represented. To kindness. Dravox roared not in rage, but in pride. The sound was deep and powerful. It echoed through the walls, out into the stars, and across the galaxy. Millions watched the moment live. The empire that was once known for fear now knelt before compassion. Later, after the ceremony, Jax and Dravox sat on the edge of a sky bridge. The queen joined them. She sat beside them like an old friend. No guards. No games. Just stillness. She asked him, "What will you do now?" Jax smiled. "Go back to fixing things." "Ships?" she asked. He shook his head. "People." A soft silence followed. Then the queen whispered, "Stay. Teach us." Jax looked at her and nodded. In the weeks that followed, the dragon pit was closed. Forever. Beasts were treated as allies, not tools. Soldiers were trained to understand before they commanded. Jax was never given a title, but everyone called him one thing: the one who listened. And across the stars, in every broken corner of every burning world, hope returned, not on the wings of war, but in the whisper of one mechanic who fixed a heart before he fixed a machine.